So, what I want to talk about today is this. I didn't know it was going to happen like this. I knew I wanted a remote start, but I didn't know that this was going to be my most favorite mod I've ever done. I mean, there are more practical things in terms of, overlanding, off-roading, camping, stuff like that, sure. But from just a day-to-day, everyday use perspective, hands down, this is my favorite. By the way, you like my new office? It still has a ways to go, but we just moved in last week, so we'll get there. Okay, so this is kind of how this came about. So, like I said, I'd been looking for a remote start. There were two options out there. I don't remember what the other option was at the moment, but one of the options was from a company called Accessorized. Now, from what I can tell, it's like a repackaged, I don't know what components the Accessorized company provides, but the app-driven overlay is from, it's like an underlying technology that they're using. Doesn't matter, all works really good, and I'm actually super happy with it. A couple of considerations. Firstly, doing a remote start on a Toyota vehicle that has the push button, from a technological perspective, I think it's an easier thing to accomplish. Remote start is certainly an option available as a factory installed option, and sort of my first exposure to this was Kevin with Lifestyle Overland. We went on a trip in February of 2018, and he did the remote start, and he was telling me, he was actually surprised that I didn't have it on mine because he thought that was a standard feature because I guess, he didn't add it, it just happened to come with his. Basically, if you've got a 5th Gen 4Runner and it has, they call it the G key. So, and I don't know what's special about the G key. Maybe it's got a chip in it or something. I bring it up because I guess that's one of the delineations. If it doesn't have the G on the key, it won't work for what you're trying to do here. This key does. I believe all 5th Gen 4Runners do. Don't quote me on that. Perhaps maybe pre-update in 14 they don't, but you definitely want to check. If it has a G, you're good. So Accessorized has several options. They make kits for a lot of different vehicles, Ford, Toyota, stuff like that. They need to be probably newer vehicles. But you can come in here and you can just plug in whatever it is your vehicle, whatever make and model and the specifics of your vehicle, and you can search. They had several options for the vehicle for our 5th Gen 4Runner that I've got, and here's the plug and play G start. And the one that I chose was the one with the smartphone controls. It was the more expensive option, and in full disclosure, they did provide this kit to me at no cost to myself. However, if I were to buy this, I would definitely have gone the most expensive route, because the phone control aspect of it is the most invaluable thing about it. Sorry, I realized my mic wasn't plugged in a minute ago. Really, so what I was trying... Casters and carpet don't really work out too well. Still have some bugs to work out here at the new office. But so what I really wanted to accomplish was I wanted to be able to control the start and stop of my vehicle without having to be within a couple of feet of it, right? So my wife's got a 200 series Land Cruiser, and it's pretty cool, right? You can hit the remote start button, you can hit it 3 times and you can start it. But if your key fob and your vehicle aren't talking, you're kind of out of luck, right? The cool thing about this particular type of remote start is that it's cellularly connected. I don't know the cell service that it uses, but so far when my phone has had service, I've been able to communicate with the vehicle. And I gotta say, I think in most instances when I'm gonna be wanting to remote start the vehicle, I'm gonna be in an area where it's got cell service. I'm not really concerned about being out in the middle of nowhere and remote starting it. It's few and far between, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm kind of like a smart device, smart home technologist. person, and I really like to be able to control things from my phone. And I think about this all the time, because I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, I wish I could turn that light off right now, or I wish I could do this without having to get up, which is probably not a very good sign, because I'm probably going to end up. Have you seen Wall-E?
Slight bone loss.
Please remain stationary. A service bot.
I'm going to end up like one of those guys in like 30 years, right? The cool thing about this is that in the morning, and this is the best part, when it's like 20 degrees outside in Utah, or if like I was in Arizona like a month ago and it was like 100 degrees outside and I wanted to get the vehicle started and get it cooled off or heated up before I got into it, this is like the most invaluable piece of technology that you could have. And this particular thing, I've used it since like, gosh, when did I install this thing? Like February or something? One of the coolest things is like when I fly in, because I fly in and out of here all the time. When I fly in, when I'm riding the tram, or when I'm sitting, like when I think I've got about 15 minutes before I'm going to get to the car, I'll go ahead and remote start the vehicle and get it warmed up in the airport parking lot. I mean, what's better than like walking in the freezing cold from when you get off the bus to your car at the airport, getting into a warmed up vehicle. I mean, not only is it warmed up to temperature, but the engine's warmed up. I mean, vehicles like to run for a couple of minutes before you just go start driving them. So I think some good long-term positive consequences of this as well, in terms of the vehicle properly being warmed up. You can pretty much start and stop the vehicle, and you can lock and unlock the vehicle, and you can see where the vehicle is. It has a GPS transponder in it, so you can see the actual GPS location of it, which is really cool. Somebody steals your vehicle and they don't know that you've got something like this. I mean, how would they know? There's no way of them knowing. You can see where your vehicle is. So that's actually this is a pretty serious positive benefit as well. Oh yeah, one more thing, you can see the voltage. You can see where the battery's at, where your startup battery's at. So that's really cool too. Installation wasn't hard at all. There were some things that you kind of had to do, and it kind of got weird. That's the wrong way to put it. You just had to take some things apart. Okay. I didn't really just remove it. I just wanted to make some noise. So far, so at the very beginning, at the end of the day, at the very beginning of the instruction, it says vehicle disassembly, and then it has like let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you kind of have to like take apart and remove. That's always intimidating to me. May not be intimidating to you, but so far the instructions have been very actually specific. I haven't had any hard time, any difficulty really figuring out what it's saying that I needed to do. And you know, all in all, it's gone pretty well. Let me show you just a couple of tips, clarification, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay. This sill panel, you got to remove it. And this thing right here, it just pops up. It's pretty easy to remove. And then this thing right here, it pops open, but there's a nut. And just so you know, this little nut that you see back in there, it comes off by turning it, which makes sense, but it unscrews from that little, sorry, the lighting's weird, unscrews from that little nut back in there, that little bolt. Once you get that, you just do it by hand. You take that, then you undo a couple of 10mm bolts, pull that thing out. This little shroud thing right here, you can see what it looks like with that taken out. And then that piece right here comes out, which looks like this right here. And so yeah, and then you know, you got all your plugs and connectors here. You just gotta take that, unplug those guys. It's pretty straightforward. From here, another little tip. This doohickey, this is the hood thing, so I just kind of squeezed it through by pulling that back. And anyway, it was kind of a pain in the butt to work with, but yeah, so let's see here. The rest of the directions basically are unplugging and plugging in its place all the little connectors. And so I'm gonna go through and work that out, and we'll see how that goes. All right, I figured it out. Oh, I could not figure out for the life of me what this BCM connector was. And I guess the primary reason was it was hidden, but not really. Hidden in plain sight. Okay, check this out. ISO's a 5000. How's that look? Probably quite a bit of noise. All right, so right here. So it's the middle one right here. So you got this cluster. It's the middle one right there. You got to unplug that. And all three of these they're unique. So you're not gonna like get it wrong, right? They're only gonna fit in one. It only fit one way, or you can't get it wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's where that plugs in. This is their unit, and then the car plugs into this. And I was reading online that you really got to make sure these get seated. So I did hear it click a minute ago, so we should be good. This is like very wavy. How's that? A little wavy, not too bad. So yeah, it's that one right there. So yeah, it's pretty simple. So you got the OBD2, which is easy to find. You've got this other one, which is, right here. And then you've got this guy, the BCM module. That's it. That's all there is. Then I've got to mount this guy right here. I've got to run this somewhere. This is the cellular thing right here. Got to figure out where I'm going to put that stuff. But I don't think I can do any of that until I need to get it started, and I need to test it out. Let's get this. Let's get it programmed. So, all right, locate the LEDs in the top corners of the module. Done, right here. Insert the key in the ignition and turn the ignition on without starting it. Light on the module will turn solid red, then green for 2 seconds, then go out. All right, that's all I have to do there. All right, red, green, off. Bypass this program, turn key off and remove. Done. Stage 2. Reinsert the key and start the vehicle. Let it run for 10-15 seconds. Let the auto come to a normal level. Press and hold down the brake pedal without releasing the brake. Press and release the push button on the side of the module once, and then release the brake. Okay, vehicle started. I don't know, give it 10-15 seconds. Did flash green and it did go out, and dashboard lights moved or blinked or something. I think we're good to go. No further programming is necessary. Close all doors and hood. Now hit the lock button 3 times on your OEM fob. The parking lights will flash a few seconds later, and the truck will start and run. All right. Let's see if this works. Nothing. Huh. Oh. Okay, let me tell you what I did differently. Okay, so on my wife's and on Kevin's, you hit the lock button 3 times, boom, 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 and then I think you hold it on the 3rd time. I could be wrong about that. I was holding it and it didn't work. I just hit it, boom, 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 and it started. Yeah! Yes! That's so awesome. I'm so excited. All right, so that's what it does. Whenever you get in and you hit your foot, you put your foot on the brake, it kills the engine, which is good. If you put the key in the ignition and put it in the engage run position, but don't crank it obviously, then I think it will let you take it over. I am beyond excited about this. All right, let's figure out how the app works. So, all in all, this is my favorite mod. I use it multiple times a day. I love it. I've had it for months now. I've never had any issues with it. I've never had any problems with it. It's worked really, really good. I'm really, really happy with it. So I wanted to give you a real brief overview of sort of like the workflow of it. I pretty much never use the key fob to start it, but I can. I almost always remote start the vehicle, almost 100% of the time, whether it's cold or hot or whatever, just because I like to get into a vehicle that's already kind of warmed up and ready to go. I like to let my vehicle sit a couple of minutes when I start it if I have time. And so when I get in the vehicle, I actually use it to unlock and lock the vehicle all the time as well. I will hit the remote start on the app and it'll indicate that it's gone through by giving me the green, and then after, I don't know, a few seconds or so, it updates and it will give me a countdown timer of 15 minutes. And at the end of that 15 minutes, it'll kill the vehicle. And this is good because you don't want it to like remote start and just like run forever. And then I will use usually this unlock button to get in and out of the vehicle. This is really handy because sometimes I might not have my keys in my pocket. That's pretty rare. You know, my key fob, I mean, you only have so much range. You know what I mean? I mean, what if you're someplace and your kids are 100 feet in front of you and you want to unlock the doors for them and your key fob won't reach? You can hit the unlock button here. It's really cool. So I'll hit the unlock button, I'll go get in the vehicle, and then I'll put the key in the ignition and turn it to the run position. You don't want to crank it because then it makes the awful noise and it's terrible for everything. But if you get in the car and you hit the brake and you go to put it into drive or reverse, the vehicle will be, it'll kill the vehicle. You got to put the key in the ignition, turn it to run, then you're taking over the vehicle. Let's say, for instance, well, I'll just let it run for 15 minutes and then we'll just go from there. But, you know, in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock the doors and I'm going to kill the motor. And you can see there it was at 13.9. And that is pretty much it. I can't say enough good things about this. If you're on the fence about a remote start, I can't speak for any of the other products on the market, but this particular product, I don't know if there's other products that have better features or whatever, but this one, I really like it. It's really worked really well. It hasn't failed me yet. Really, really like it so far. So yeah, if you're looking for a remote start solution, this might be a good option. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry for all of the sparseness and big breaks in between videos. I think things are slowing down a little bit for me. So I've got a couple of trips planned. Just got back from doing a leg of the Utah backcountry discovery route. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, because you can see a little bit more of a real-time status of where things are instead of these sort of, you know, glimpse into the past videos. Can't wait to share the next video with you. The next video, we're going to be going through the install of our Light Force lights. I know that some of you are like, get back to the trips. And I know it seems like it's been a while since we've done trip videos. In terms of quantity of videos, it's not really been much different than what I've done in the past. But in terms of getting content out there, I've slowed down a lot because I've just been busy with life. It is what it is. Really appreciate you watching. Really appreciate your support. Really appreciate you subscribing. Hit that like button, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next video.